Okay, so we're looking at the weekly chart in Exxon, Mobil, and Exxon had been in a massive, it still is in a way, but in a massive consolidation for the past 2 years. If you look starting back over here, this is around January of 2023, all the way through October, November, or I should say September of this year, massive consolidation. And really that was coming off of a huge triple that the stock experienced from the COVID lows. As you can see here, where it traded around $35, $40 and then got up to about 120. And it consolidated then for almost 2 years. Now, something's changed in the last two cycles. So I'm looking at this cycle here, which just finished in September, October. And you can see that this cycle here in that rising phase, it actually broke out above that prior cycle high. So that was an indication of a shift in that cycle structure to positive. That was a confirmed breakout. And then we got a textbook pullback into the support zones around this minor cycle timing. And then we rallied again. We got up close to that 78.6, pulled back. And then in this new rising phase, as we set this new anchor low, we broke out again very firmly through, closed above that prior cycle peak. So the cycle structure right now in Exxon is positive, setting up an opportunity here in this intermediate time frame. Now, let's look at the momentum information as well, because this is an intermediate time frame outlook. So I'm going to pull over our momentum tracker. This is our Slimulator momentum tracker, and we use a set of proprietary momentum algorithms with a higher weight in this intermediate and longer term outlook period. And you can see right now that the overall conditions, the directional bias is very bullish. So there's a combination of this theme, bullish theme going on with the cycle structures, with the momentum conditions, and also the fact that we are still early in this rising phase here on the weekly cycle. Now I'm going to do a multiple time frame analysis here moving forward as we now look at the daily chart. So the daily chart had this breakout as well, new cycle, peak breakout. We pulled back into cycle low support, and now we're in this rising, early peaking phase and consolidating between support and then that short-term 61.8 fib. So what do I want to see that would suggest to me that this trade is resuming on the upside? Because it's really important that you have the ability to see deep into the complete picture of the technical analysis. And we've been trained in multiple time frame analysis, and we use this proprietary grid that we've established. And what I'm focused on right here is going to be the 2-hour. I'll also talk about the 15-minute here, but then also getting back over to the daily. So first things first, you can see that over the last couple of days, even though we have this positive outlook, right? We have a positive conditions happening in these longer conditions. You want to be paying attention to these shorter duration timeframes to help with that entry. And right now we have a negative 2-hour reversal scout, and we also have a neutral slim ribbon. And then we have, I look at that slim ribbon on the 15-minute to help with that first domino, and that these dominoes have been negative or neutral on the 15-minute. They are neutral and negative on the 2-hour. So I want to see these dominoes start to turn, which will then let me know that there's a high probability that this near-term low is in place and that we could have a resumption. And so I'd be looking for that 2-hour reversal scout to turn back positive. And then also I'd like to see a close above the 61.8. That would suggest to me that the bulls have staked the claim and we're ready to push higher. If we can get through and make that happen in XOM, then we'll be looking at these projections that I have established here based on the swing high, swing low analysis, Fibonacci tools that we have. I'll just pull up this other chart here with those on there showing how I came about those levels. So there's 3 projections here. The first projection, the most conservative and the earliest one, which would be set in motion once we see those changes in momentum on those smaller duration timeframes and that close above that 61.8, that would tell me that this first projection from about 125.10 to 126.30 was in motion. And then if we could get a push above the 78.6, that would open up the door to these next projections. Now, this last one, this projection here of the 100% confluence could take a little bit more time, but the door is open to that and is active right now based on the overall conditions. So I use this swing low from the prior cycle or cycle low here to that anchor cycle peak back down to the cycle low that we experience here to give me one of the fib extension swings. Then also this recent swing high, swing low analysis here with the cycle low that formed, and then this early rising phase peak, and then this recent pullback into support. Those are what gave me these confluences that helped me with my projections on the upside, all supported by the overall structure, cycle timing, and momentum at this time. If we were to see a violation of around 116.05, which is slightly below that short-term 78.6, that would force me to reevaluate the overall projections. And if we were to violate the 78.6 on the weekly chart here, that would negate the overall bullish bias, and I'd have to step aside and reevaluate the whole picture altogether. So that's the overview in XOM.